Are you sick and tired of all of these RoboVacuum reviewers just doing reviews on RoboVacuums after testing them for 2 hours in a corner of their house? Well, I let the Mova Z60 Ultra vacuum my home for over 1,000 minutes for 30 complete sessions. Because if you're going to spend your hard-earned money on an Ultra RoboVacuum, it better be Ultra. It better be better than the competition. Because it comes with the features that you would expect. A lot of suction power at 28,000 Pascal. The ability to jump over things, which was the coolest thing last year. And it comes with a roller mop, which is now revolutionizing the entire RoboVac game. So we're going to be testing out our Mova with some chocolate milk, peanut butter, all of this different type of syrup, strawberry, caramel, genuine chocolate. We're going to use it with pretzels, coffee beans, and oat milk. So this is going to be a quite extensive test. Let's see how the Mova performs. So the first test we're going to do is we're going to see how it performs for different particles on a hard floor. So I'm going to crush these pretzels and use some coffee beans because I really want to gauge how powerful is 28,000 pascals of suction power. Because in the RoboVacuum wars, everybody is throwing numbers like 20,000, 25,000, and now 28,000 pascals of suction. But the Z60 uses that suction power efficiently because of its heavy weight, because of those dual brush rolls, in order to pick everything up. It didn't even really require the side brush roll that much here because it detected not to use it, so it didn't spread everything around. And after its session, it actually picked up everything to my surprise. But more importantly, let's see how it handles as a mop, because this is going to be a smaller stain. We're going to do 3 tests here. This is going to be on strawberry, caramel, and chocolate syrup. It actually does a great job just picking everything up. It's going to sense the stain and go around it, and then it's going to go back and forth 3 different times in order to remove the stain on its own. The Z60 does a great job in its overall pathing, not trying to spread the stain out, but go to orderly rows so that it can pick everything up orderly and make sure there's no streaks as well as remnants left when it's finished its session. The first time it's going to maybe leave a little bit of drops, but the second time when it comes back, it's going to finish it all. I would recommend that if you are doing any of these larger stains, to make sure that your unit is going to be on 2x or 3x so that it can go back repeatedly and clean the stain repeatedly so that it can capture as much as the liquid and remove as much of the stickiness as possible. And you can see the success in the dirty water tank on the back of your Z60. It's actually going to hold all that dirty water as well as the syrup so that once you're done or it's close to being finished, you know that it's time for it to clean itself. So let's up the ante even further by doing a larger stain. So this is going to be oat milk. We're going to again use the caramel, strawberry, and chocolate syrup and let it pick everything up because I want to know how it handles more liquids. And similar to a wet dry vacuum, it's going to suck all of that liquid up, including the milk, and the roller mop is going to scrub all of that syrup away because it's going to be in combination with that dual solution system inside of its clean station. And it's just a friendly reminder that all these RoboVacuums these days come with so many features, but it comes down to execution. And the Mova Z60's execution on these stains that you might say, I would just use a paper towel, I would just use a Windex or some Clorox to pick this all up. But your Mova can do it on its own, and I can trust it in order to finish the job because it's rare you'll ever have a stain like this and you're just going to leave it on your floor. But if you did, the Mova Z60 is going to be able to handle it. Speaking about how well it vacuums your floors, it's going to be using something called AI Smart Sight, and that's going to be the ability to recognize up to 200 objects quickly and efficiently that's placed in front of it. And then it combines that with something called DTOF, and that stands for Direct Time of Flight. So it just shoots out a lot of lasers, and then it's going to measure how quickly those lasers are going to return back to it, just like you would do if you had LiDAR. The DTOF systems are really good if you want to have long-range resolution, so that means it's going to be good at noticing things far away. Once you put this on smart mapping, you're definitely going to notice how easily and quickly it maps out your home and can see way beyond your walls into your backyard. However, for short-range things, it's actually going to be using its smart sight system, so it's going to really trust those front-facing cameras to detect what's in front of it and build an accurate model of its environment. Another interesting observation I noticed is that if it senses an area that it cannot reach, like underneath your sink or some type of cabinet because of that radar turret, it's going to finish that room first, and then it's going to go back and drop its turret and then go underneath and vacuum that specific area. It will not do it all at the same time, it will do it in turns. I also tried the Mova Z60 on this bath mat that has a 2-inch pill. And that's because it has something called the LiftPro chassis. So that's just another way of saying adaptive lift, where if you're going to be encountering like a medium to long pill carpet or bath mat like you see here, the wheels are going to be able to synchronize and lift the chassis up so that it doesn't necessarily get boggled down and stuck inside the bath mat. And as you can see here, as it's vacuuming this bath mat, it actually will pick itself up just a little bit, maybe about 1/2 inch, so that it can go over and vacuum around it. But when it gets to a dirty part on this bath mat, it's going to drop itself down again and try to vacuum that specific area before picking itself up again. You see this same tendency when you're using it on higher pill carpet as well. So I have a 75 ounce carpet in my home, and it was able to vacuum that carpet deeply as what we originally saw on a iRobot S9, but even better. And I really equate that to a programming change. Instead of just having that obstacle crossing capability, it's also able just to pick itself up and level itself off based on what floor type it's on. And when it is vacuuming these very dense carpets, what you'll also notice is that it's not going to be using its side brush roll much. It's really trusting on the larger brushes underneath it, as well as applying as much weight as possible. What Mova did is that they've learned the mistake that a lot of other vacuums or robo vacuums have made, and you can see how low it sits relative to the floor, and you can see how heavy it is just by the track pattern that it makes inside of my 75 ounce carpet. And because of that, as well as the protection it gives you on that roller mop pad, that it has that shield, it just is able to get deeper and pick up more things than before, and that's a testament to this redesign. And the Mova for high pill carpets is not trying to move fast. What it is trying to do is just move with purpose and make decisions. So this is where you can see the enhancements coming from the AI as well. Your Mova Z60 will also come with some protective options so that it detects a stain on the floor that is going to be uncleanable in its opinion. They actually will not clean it and call it a uncleanable stain. So things like vomit, feces, and other similar messes are not going to be clean. And that's really for the pet owners who have pets who like to leave special treats on the floor. It's going to avoid the poop, and I think that's a very good feature. Let's do a hair test with our Mova Z60. I'm going to take some lentils first, so we're going to add some lentils to our floor just to make sure that you guys know that this is honest, and I'm just going to put a bunch of lentils, just test the vacuuming power. And I'm going to take some long hair, and the secret of the Mova is that it comes with that detangling brush on the bottom, and it's going to feed in and it's not going to get tangled because there's dual brushes. So let me cut a piece of hair off my wig. Some hair off my wig. We're going to place it in. I'm going to cut another piece of hair off. And you can see we have more hair. And realistically, you're not going to be losing this much hair in just one setting anyway. So we're going to see how well this does. I'm going to spread this around, and let's turn on our RoboVac and see how well it picks everything up. You can see how that rubber stopper just helps it pick up more debris on the floor than just having to activate its side brush. So it just scoops it all up, and that really does help it perform better on carpeted floors. And I've set my RoboVac to be on Max Plus, so it's going to have the maximum amount of suction power, all 28,000 pascals of suction at its fingertips, so it can pick up all of these small debris on this low medium pill carpet. And it's wanting to know how well does it handle the pet hair, or at least in this case, the human hair that's going to be very long. So after doing one full pass on our floors, you can see that it picked up everything. So then my curiosity is really about Where is the pet hair? How is the long hair captured on the brush roll? Is it going to be effective, and is it good at detangling? So once it's finished its session, we're going to check out his brush roll and see how much hair is going to be tangled on it, or if any hair is going to be tangled on it. Okay, so after it picked up all of that hair, let's see how well it performed in detangling itself. So I just let it clean itself, and here it is. And there's a little bit of hair on the wheels, as you can see, but in terms of the roller, nothing. So the roller is clean, just a little bit of hair stuck on the wheels. And then if I flip this around, let's see what's inside the bin. Was it able to empty the bin? And yes, the bin is clear, so success. The detangling worked at picking up the long hair that we had placed on the floor. So this is a 2-inch thick butcher block, and I'm gonna see if our Mova can go over this, because it claims to have 3-inch threshold capabilities, even higher than 3 inches. So if it can handle this, it can pretty much handle almost any threshold you really throw at it in your house. And this is going to be our brush roll here, and it's going to be wet. So if I want to remove it and give you a closer look, this is what it looks like. The big secret of the Mova Z60 is that you have a screen that you can pull up, and it's going to cover up your roller. So you can do that, and then that's going to protect your carpeted floors from getting commingled with any debris or wetness or disgusting things that might be on the roller itself. So the entire brush is going to be covered, so that you don't have to worry about having to pick it up or lower it, because it's actually just not going to be touching your floors because there's a plastic cover on top of it. And you can remove it, and this is what the screen looks like. And then once you have the screen out, you're going to have better access to just removing your roller itself. Once you have the mop screen off, you can also remove the roller itself just by pushing this button here. It's going to say push on it. You push that, and then it's going to pop out your roller. So then you're going to have access to the roller. You're going to want to clean this because it can get dirty, and it's important to maintain your device, especially these more complicated devices. So you can see that it has a slight reddish hue on the roller, and that's going to be from the strawberry syrup it had cleaned up. So this is going to be the fluffer brush, and that's going to be connected right inside of here. So if you're looking at the chamber, this is where your fluffer brush is. This is going to be very similar to a wet dry vacuum. So it's going to have this kind of controlled roller here, and then you connect it to the actual roller itself. And this is quite heavy, but it's going to be hollow inside, and it has very similar characteristics to a wet dry mop roller itself. So after you've cleaned everything up, you're going to be wanting to insert this back in, and then it's going to clip right back into place. And then you're going to want to insert back in your roller after you washed it. And even though I have run a mop washing cycle on this repeatedly, but at the same time, you're going to get better results if you take it out and clean it yourself every so often. So once you do that, you're going to want to insert it back in, and it's going to just clip right back into place. And then you're going to be wanting to reinsert your cover. So that cover is going to be able to be inserted inside here, and it's going to clip right back into place. So you can disassemble and put everything back together on your Mova Z60. Interesting thing about the roller brushes is that not only can you remove them, and these are going to be anti-tangle, they're going to have those silicone, but you can also pop them out of the housing here so that you can clean them on their own. And if you're cleaning your roller brush and you're trying to figure out which one is the black side and the orange side, so what that means is that your orange side is going to be away from the roller, and the side with the brushes is going to be closer to the roller. The Mova app experience is very straightforward. You just go inside the app itself, you click on it, and this is going to be the map that it makes of your home. Remember, the LiDAR has a really far reach because it's DTOL, so it's going to see way beyond the wall, so you might actually have to close off some walls. Now, if you want to just look quickly at the map management, you have your multi-floor management for people who have multi-floors. and it's going to sense it intelligently. Then if you want to see how to clean, you can either go into your custom or you can just go into different modes or room and zone. So I'm going to do all, and I'm going to click custom, and then you have vacuum mop, vac mop, map after vac, and customize room cleaning. You also have Max Plus, which is when it's going to use the maximum amount of suction power, but that does not appear if you have it on Vac and Mop. Vac and Mop actually gives you a lot of adjustments, so you can go up to 32 levels of wetness, and it actually works that way. And if you want to do your route, you have Quick and Standard, and you have your mop washing frequency, so you can decide how big of an area it should rewash the mop pad, or if you want to do it by time or room. The secret here is that if you go to customize after or customize room cleaning and you press set is actually going to define what you will do in each room. And this feature is my favorite feature, at least inside the app, because my kitchen, I wanted to mop every session, but I do not want it to mop every time it's doing my living room or my dining hall. So then I can decide what it does just by picking vacuum mop, vac mop, and then I can control the suction power and how many times I wanted to run. This is one of the best features here. Now, if we're going back, we're going to go to zone. You can set your zone, and it's going to have some pet recognition features like pet cleaning, pet activity, pet monitoring, and pet moments. Now, if you want to go into your settings, you have even more features. You have your carpet settings, so you can do the vacuum. So it's actually going to mop raise, or you can have the avoid. Mop raise is really when it's going to just cover its mop pad itself. You have carpet boost, clean carpets first, intensive carpet cleaning. Side brush rotates on carpet, so if you are not getting or you want the side brush to rotate on carpet, you can actually activate that, which is very cool. And you have carpet cleaning with chassis lifted, so the robot will lift the chassis when vacuuming carpets to avoid getting stuck. That's also very cool, especially if you have high pilk carpets, and you'll notice that that makes a huge improvement. The other ones that I want to share with you quickly is that the AI-driven mop extend features. You have the side reach on the mop extend. You're going to have the clearance like settings, so you can decide how you want it to clear different obstacles. And you have your dock settings, so you can control how you want it to wash, if you wanted to wash its washboard, and the detergent settings all inside. And this is where you're going to be able to decide, do you want it to use more detergent tank A or detergent tank B? Another potential issue you might want to know about your Z60 is that it comes with something called intelligent stain cleaning. So when it detects a stain like soy sauce, it's going to deep clean that area and wash the mop, and then come back and finish its current task. It also has something called large particle boost, so if it finds large particles, it's going to boost its power, and if it finds areas that are going to be full of vomit or something that it can't pick up, it's going to ignore it. However, in the case that it has to pick up something or clean an area that is very, very messy and dirty, the issue you have is that it's not going to be able to wash its mop pads repeatedly because it doesn't have any of the dirt set sensors inside of its clean station, as well as if it senses the color of the floor, it's not going to go back and clean that area repeatedly. So if you have an area that's very dirty, just make sure to set your Z60 on either 2x or 3x, so it's going to go back and repeatedly wash that area over and over, because if you just do it on 1x, it might not be enough. If you're using this, I'm not getting 3 hours of battery life. I would say that most likely you're going to get closer to about 2 hours in extended use. And it does use a lot of power in order to push it forward. And that's also related to just how big and heavy this unit is. Ultimately, what's my verdict on the Mova Z60 Ultra? It is a very, very good robo vacuum. It actually has all the features that we've been asking inside of one package. And because it's big and heavy, and they have figured out how to make this sit lower when it needs to vacuum, overall vacuuming performance is very good. Overall side brush performance is very good. Overall mopping performance is very good. And that's really because this Mova is so heavy. When you pick it up, this is not light to pick up, and because it's heavier, it's just putting more force on the ground, and you absolutely cannot discount how much weight matters in the effectiveness of these robot vacuum mops. The Z60 is heavy enough to put enough pressure on the floor that it can do a good job as a vacuum. and it has the adjustability so that it can also pick itself up if it's not just going over thresholds, but also over thicker, heavier carpet. So there's more versatility, especially if you're using this on multi-level homes. Then combine it with the mopping features, which are going to be effective because it can go edge to edge. It's also going to have that auto carpet protection so that if you do have some carpets, if you do have a nice rug inside of your home, your robo vacuum's not just going to stain it all the time as it goes over or around your rugs and carpets. And these are the simple things that make the Mova Z60 effective, because these are the simple things that robo vacuums prior to the Z60 could not do. So do I recommend it? Yes. Do I think it's a good robo vacuum? Yes. And I've used it in my home, and now this will actually be the robo vacuum that I'm going to be using at home for the extended future. So with that, thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below, and please hit that like or subscribe button. It really does help support our channel. I'll have more of these roller mop reviews and comparisons upcoming, so keep a lookout, guys, and I'll catch you next time. This is Dave with the French Glow signing off. Bye, bye, bye.